again. Welcome back to Amici's Kitchen, and we're going to cook together again today. I think this is week number 9 that we might be on, and I can't believe it. Like I say all the time, I just never thought we would keep going, but I'm having a lot of fun doing it. It kind of makes me be a little bit creative and think of different ways to bring customers into the restaurant. And it's really been working because we've been getting a lot of new people. A lot of people see the videos. A lot of people see all of our stuff on social media. And now that we're open back up for a little bit of business, half capacity, we're doing really well. And we hope that everyone that's wanted to try us will come out and see us. So today, this might be our first recipe that we haven't had just 5 ingredients. But most of the ingredients on here you should probably have anyway in your pantry, just a few things that you may have had to go out and get. But anyway, I chose spinach and artichoke pasta today because it's actually a really great appetizer that I don't know anybody that doesn't like. I've actually went around and asked a lot of people, do you like it, do you like it? And they're like, oh yeah, yeah. So adding pasta into it and baking it with gooey mozzarella cheese on top is even better. So the ingredients that I have out here is everything that we're going to need. We have spinach, of course, and the artichokes. Those are the 2 main ingredients. I've got Parmesan cheese, I've got cream cheese, milk, mozzarella cheese. Down there I've got my breadcrumbs ready to go. And of course, the first ingredient on the list was a pasta. So typically you would want to use a big pasta like this because it's a creamy dish, and I always say this, I can't stress it enough. Creamy dishes need a heavy pasta because they just suck it all in. So if you have something very light like an elbow noodle or even like angel hair, they just do not work. Especially when this is such a chunky dish like this, the little pasta is going to get lost. So if you found like rigatoni or penne, those are great. Even farfalle, the butterfly ones. Anything like that, I've seen this dish done with cheese tortellini, which is really good, and even mini cheese ravioli. So as long as you are creative, you can add in basically anything you want to here. But I have a surplus of penne pasta. So it's already been boiled, but I'm just trying to keep it warm right now for this. And I find that it works the best. So while that's sitting there, we're going to get started making our sauce. And I'm going to just heat this up here. See, I made one already at home, and I have an electric stove at home, but here I have the pleasure of having a gas stove, which I absolutely love. And I'm very used to using gas because I had that when I lived up north. It pretty much always had gas stoves up here, so I had to get used to an electric one down here. Okay, so I'm just putting a little bit of olive oil in a pan, and that was also one of our ingredients, but like I said, you should always have olive oil anyway. Okay, and what I have here is washed fresh spinach. Now this is just one of those bags that you buy at the produce section. I find it works the best, and it's fresh. But if you have a box of the frozen spinach, the 8-ounce box, that can also work. You just have to defrost it and squeeze it out and make sure you get out all of the water out of it, because if you don't, as it cooks, it'll just water down the recipe. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put all this spinach in the pan. And you might think to yourself, well, wow, that's a lot of spinach. But we all know spinach cooks down and it wilts, and next thing you know, we're like, oh boy, I don't have enough. So this is just one of those bags, like I said, and we're going to toss this in the olive oil. And while that's cooking, I'm going to show you the artichokes. Now my artichokes came from a can. That's perfectly fine. If you wanted to use fresh ones, people get a little overwhelmed with them because to look at it is very confusing. It's got the hard pointy leaves, and it's like, how do you get the heart out? You have to cut it and blanch it. First soak them in lemon water. It's a process. It can be done. And if you want to make like stuffed artichokes, that's the way to go. But we're just going to make life a little easy. So you can find these in the canned vegetable section. I try not to get marinated ones because you don't want all that vinegar taste to it. So I just have the plain artichoke hearts here. And even though they're nice and soft already, we're going to throw them in that pan with the spinach. and we're going to cook them down a little bit more. So I want to cut mine a little bit more because I find like this is a big piece to put. So I'm taking them by the quarters and I'm actually cutting those again. So if you have a heart like this, you would cut it into a half and then a half and then a half. So this way it actually makes more, and then it's not such big pieces. So our spinach is wilting down really good here. So it's making for a really good bed for garlic. And you never want to throw garlic in a really, really hot pan because it'll burn and then it gets bitter. This delicious little herb here, or spice, whatever we want to call it, can get very bitter. So if you have garlic clove, you can throw the clove in there, but I would probably take it out at the end. You don't want to just leave a big garlic clove in there for somebody to chomp down on. But this is minced, so it's just flavoring everything right now. And we're going to finish up a little bit of our artichokes, and we're going to throw them in the pan with it. Now artichokes are used at the restaurant for antipastos, and they're used for chicken piccata. You can use them plain, just with olive oil and stuff. They, some people like them, some people don't. So we're going to put them right in there. And we're going to stir this all around. And I can already smell the goodness. I could probably eat this as is, because these are my two favorite things. My favorite dish to eat at the restaurant is actually piccata. I'll eat it any way I can. I'll eat it with chicken, I'll eat it with shrimp. Okay, I'm adding a little bit of salt to it for some flavor. We haven't flavored anything. And I'm adding a little bit of black pepper. I'm going to stir these around. And now, the artichoke are already soft, but we just want to heat them through. So this process here really doesn't take long, and although my pasta is already boiling, yours could be boiling at this time, so everything is going to come together. It's really a simple dish. So the next thing, now that these are all wilted down, I wanted to say hi to a couple people. I know my friend Gloria in Jersey is watching. I'm not sure if Lucia is watching today, but I know she's going to make this. I have friends in New York. And we have a friend up, I think it's New Hampshire, that watches every week. So I just want to make sure I gave a shout out to everybody. I'm really excited. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use, put the cream cheese in. We can use cream cheese or you can use sour cream, either or. They're both the same. So I have a little bit of sour cream here earlier today. I made it with cream cheese and it came out great. So I wanted to see just the difference. I looked at so many recipes and they were really both the same. So I said, okay, let me try the sour cream. So I'm going to put it in here. And it should be 8 ounces. Just going to eyeball this a little bit. And we're going to wait for this to melt down. So we're going to stir all this around and incorporate it in with this. Now, if you have the cream cheese, a good thing is to have it at room temperature, because if it's cold, it's going to take a long time to melt down, and you don't want it lumpy. Because if you don't want to, when you're eating it, you don't want it to bake, and then all of a sudden you're eating and you get a big hunk of cream cheese. Okay, so the sour cream kind of melted down a lot faster than that. I told you I tried the cream cheese this afternoon at the house. Okay, so we have all that done. Also, if you wanted to add in a little bit of red pepper right now, you could. I saw that in the recipe also, and you know, cooking is making things your own. So if you like it a little bit spicy, you could add a little bit of red pepper, and now would be the time. So this is going, and I'm going to make sure my flame is up, because now we're going to add in 2 cups of cold milk. So remember, this is our liquid measuring cup. And I went already had, it didn't matter if it was whole milk or 2%. I wouldn't use skim, that's just a little too light. So this is 2%, this is actually whole milk. We use whole milk at the restaurant, and we use heavy cream. Heavy cream would probably make this very, very rich. So we're gonna try a little bit to watch what we're doing. So I'm gonna pour this right in there. So it's good to have room temperature stuff because it'll bring the cooking back down, the cooking process, it'll halt it, and you have to start all over again. So this was pretty much room temperature when I just put it in. This is mixing all up now. You just want to bring it to a little bit of a boil, like a small simmer here. And what a simmer is, it's basically bubbling around the rim. As you can see right here, it's not these big heavy bubbles that's turning everything up. It's just a small simmer here right around the rim. This pan is a lot bigger than the, there we go. So this side needs to get a little bit warmed up. And then now that we have this all incorporated in, we're going to add in some mozzarella. And it was supposed to be a cup of mozzarella. So if you have your dry measuring cup, you can pack it in there and there'll be a cup. I happen to know my hand is like a cup. I've done this so many times. So I'm just going to spread the mozzarella in here. And you don't want it to be too much because it will become like a really sticky ball and we won't be able to have a nice cream sauce with it. And then, I'm going to turn this off. And then the last ingredient we need to put in is Parmesan cheese. And that is 1/4 of a cup. And that I do need a measuring teaspoon for because I don't really know what my hand is for that. So this is 1/3 and a little bit. There we go. So now that we have this all together, we're going to wait for the mozzarella to melt. And don't forget, I still have my penne over here. I'm keeping it nice and moist. This is a great way to cook it. You can definitely cook it ahead of time, and then you can keep it warm over a steamer like this. You don't want to keep putting it under water. You don't want to keep rinsing it. I'm very lucky. I have a lot of the ingredients available to me. Okay, so as you see, this is very stringy. Look at the mozzarella. It is ready. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take our pasta and we're going to put it in the pan. And it's just a box of the pasta. So if you bought like a box of the penne, do the whole thing. Put it all in, cook it up. We can turn this off now. That pot boils all night long. And we just keep filling it and filling it with water. And that's how we make all the pastas. Dish after dish here. Oh, look how good this looks. Oh, wow. Look at the beautiful cheese in here. So what we're going to do now, after I get this all mixed up, it looks so, oh, wow. It looks really good. Okay, now I'm going to take a baking dish here. You don't have to grease it or anything like that. This is actually going to be a baked pasta. So we're going to throw it in here. Thank you, sweetie. I'm trying to show you everything that's coming out. And guys, make sure you have one of these. This is a spatula. I can't stress how important this is. This functions as so many things in a kitchen, but the most important is, look at all this sauce now. If I didn't use the spatula, look at all the sauce I didn't use. And it's good. I mean, it can be incorporated in there, and that's what a spatula really is for. It's for getting out all of that stuff out of the bottom of the pan and stuff. Okay, so this fit perfectly in this baking dish, and we're just going to press this down. And then for the top of it, we're going to put on the rest of the mozzarella. So we're going to cover it up. How easy was this so far? So we got to do a little bit of cooking. We did a little bit of cutting with the knife. We did a little bit of measuring still. All right, so we have all that down. And the last thing I want to do, this is just because I like texture in my dishes. And I have some breadcrumbs here, and I'm going to take a little bit of butter. And I'm just going to mix them around. If you have olive oil, you could do that. The butter, any type of oil or butter in there makes them very crunchy, and it just adds a little more flavor to it. This is a salted butter. Okay, so my breadcrumbs are ready, and I know they're ready because when I pinch them, they stay together. They're not still like all crumbly. And I'm actually gonna put this on the top, spread it around, just lightly. Doesn't have to be perfect, it's just for a little bit of extra texture on the top. I hear those jets flying over every afternoon. Makes you proud to be an American. All right, I'm gonna bring this back to the oven. You abs, you wanna take a walk with me? That's the cat fighters. And look at this, guys, seriously. Look at this. This, oh my gosh, it's bubbling. I have the brown from the breadcrumbs. I see all the mozzarella has melted. So I'm gonna take this over and I'm gonna show you what it looks like out of this pan now. And I have it in a disposable pan because, like I said, I made this one earlier at home just because I wanted to show everybody what it would look like.
How long did you bake it for?
It goes in a 350 oven and it's only 20 minutes. Because basically everything is already cooked, we're just heating it through. So there's the crust on the top. Look at this. So I've got a little bit of artichoke here. I've got a little bit of the spinach. I've got that cheesy goodness. This is gonna be, oh my goodness, look at this. And tonight, we're going to sell these as a special at Amici's. So if you want one, you have to call and come pick it up. It has a lot going on because it reminds me of macaroni and cheese. And then it reminds me of the spinach artichoke dip that you dip with a chip. And then it just reminds me of Italy because the pasta's in there and the good cheese. So this is definitely a home run, and I think that your family will really love it. It's got their veggies in there, and it's got like the stringy cheese that kids love. And it's a great dish for everybody. You can bring it for a casserole to a family or a party somewhere. It's just delicious, guys. I think you're gonna love it. This one's a winner.